slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever...
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic I wanted to discuss when to start your warm-up before you start to race. And this particular topic came to mind in regards to how much warm-up time do you need, when should you start your warm-up, what should you do after your warm-up. But Aaron White, he's a longtime RunDreamAchieve supporter, left a comment here. He said, "Until Sim, my first marathon, I'll have plenty of questions, but I'll ask them one at a time so you don't get sick of me." Okay, I'm not going to get sick of you, Aaron, or anybody else ask these questions, so definitely continue to leave comments, continue to leave questions. I'll either answer them directly on the YouTube channel, or I will make a video about them here and answer your question. But he says, "First seems simple but curious. How long of a warm-up would you do before a marathon, and how close to the start of the race would you start that warm-up?" My bad, that was 2 questions. Okay, now in regards to answering this, I think every athlete is different. Every athlete has their own unique way of warming up and getting ready for the race. But for me personally, for example, when this marathon's coming up, I'll probably start doing my warm-up probably about 40 minutes prior to the start of the race. I'm only going to do a 1-mile jog prior to the start of that, probably running anywhere from like 8:30 to 9-minute mile pace, complete, just easy, relaxed jogging, just to get the blood moving a little bit, the heart rate up a little bit. And but yeah, I'll be doing that about 40 minutes prior to the start of the race. And I think, and you said here, how close to the start of the race would you start that? Yeah, maybe 40 minutes or so, 40 to 45 minutes. How long of a warm up? I think, depending on the race distance, if you're running like a 5K or a 10K, maybe like a 2-mile jog. If you're running a marathon, I don't think you need to run any further than a mile. Just enough to get moving a little bit. After that mile, just for what I plan on doing is after that it'll be light stretching. Just some last minute rehearsals in terms of mental rehearsals, just visualizing going out relaxed, being a little bit more conservative in the first half, trying to stay as relaxed as possible. I always preach this. I mean, it's so important. The less tension you have, the less, both mentally and physically, the better you're going to run, and the more likelihood of you performing at a very high level. Because I think if you're tense and if you're nervous and if you're not confident in yourself and not trusting in the training that you've been doing over the past several months, then I think it's going to be a long day. I think it's very important to just stay as calm as you can the week leading into your goal race, and especially being calm and relaxed prior to the start of the race, and especially in the race itself. Okay, it's okay to be a little bit nervous. I mean, to have a little bit of nerves, that's okay. But to the point where it's costing you your performance, and you're just so worried and so concerned, the day of the race is definitely not the day to be like that. If you're going to be tense, if you're going to be a little bit nervous, that's normal. When you're really training really hard in training, and you have a little bit of nerves about maybe a workout that you're doing or anything like that. But even in the training, you can teach yourself to stay calm and to teach yourself to stay, once you feel your body tensing up, your face tensing up, you constantly tell yourself to relax. You always look at the best runners, the best marathoners, best 10K, all the best road racers, best track and field athletes. A lot of them are very relaxed and very confident in what they've done. I mean, take a look at Jakob Ingebrigtsen, for example. That man has done everything in training. Goes into the race, I mean, he is ready to go. and of course, you don't want to compare yourself to, Jakob, but it's just an example of why it's very important to still study what the best runners do. And I've tried to do that over the years myself, and trying to study what, the Kenyans and the Ethiopians, other top Americans. A lot of these athletes are very calm, very confident in themselves, and very strong and very relaxed at the start of the races, because they've already put in the work. So to answer your question, Aaron, how long of warm-up would you do before a marathon? I would say no more than 2 miles, but definitely at least 1 mile in length, just a relaxed, easy jog. Again, that's exactly what I'm going to do. After the race, you can probably, if you choose to do a cool down, I think it's always wise to do a cool down just to make sure, try to flush out some of those toxins and that lactic acid. If you can, after the race, get a ice bath or a massage. I would definitely recommend that. And if for whatever reason you're feeling extremely tight, maybe a couple days after the race, I always recommend dry needling. You can get dry needling from any local physical therapist. It's a lot like acupuncture. They'll stick the needles into the sore muscles and it loosens them up. A lot of times runners, especially after the marathon, it will build up so much inflammation and so much muscular tearing and damage that sometimes, if you go out and you try to run a few days after a marathon, you're just extremely tight, and it could be a really tight calf, really tight hamstring, something like that. Get in and to see a physical therapist and do some dry needling. Okay, so how long warm up? Like I mentioned, 1 to 2 miles, no more than 2 miles. Easy jogging. You don't need to be, if you're in a group, it's very natural to be running at like 6:30s and 6-minute pace. A lot of these runners just, again, every athlete's different. If an athlete that can run maybe a sub 2:10 marathons out there around 6:30 pace for a warm up, okay, that's okay, I get it. But if you're like a 3-hour marathoner or 4-hour marathoner, you need to just chill out and really just take it easy during the warm up. Do some calisthenics, light stretching, some static stretching. Make sure that you're nice and loose prior to the start of your race. Don't just walk to the start line and do nothing. Of course, most runners already know this, but there are a lot of runners that don't do a proper warm-up. Doing some strides, that's another thing I'll definitely be doing, about maybe 3 to 4 50-meter strides prior to the start of the race. Just some stride outs, just to rev the engine again. Get ready to go. And that's really the last thing to do. And how close to the start of the race, as you mentioned, I'd say anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour prior to the start of the race is fine. Again, because you're not doing a longer warm up. If you're just doing a mile warm up, 40 minutes prior to the start, 45 minutes or so. That's especially for a marathon or maybe a half marathon. Really, that's plenty of time because you can still get back as long as you get back in time. If you're only doing a mile, that's not a big deal. You have enough time to get back, change out of your training shoes to your racing shoes, do some strides, do some light stretching. Do some, mental rehearsal prior to the start of the race, but make sure you're mentally training several months leading into your race. Don't wait until just the morning of the race to start thinking about how you want to run the race. Again, you want to train the mind like you train the body. And a lot of times we just focus on the physical training and we bypass the mental rehearsal, mental training that needs to be done as well to train this, to prepare ourselves to get to and to achieve what we want to do in the race. The marathon especially is very different. I've run the 1500, I've run the 800, I've run the mile, the 1500 meters, 3K, 5K, 10K, half marathon. The marathon is different. You have to be very smart in what you're doing, not only prior to the start of the race, making sure you're carbo loading 3 days to 7 days prior to the start of the race. Make sure you're fully stocked up on glycogen. Run the tangents in the race. Don't run any further than you need to. Make sure you hydrate well in the race. Do not think that you're going to be able to run 42.2 kilometers or 26.2 miles with little to no fluid. It's most of my long runs, I'm taking in about 60 fluid ounces of fluid throughout my long runs. You have to make sure you're drinking, not just sipping in these longer races, okay? So just keep that in mind. And again, I can't stress this enough. Stay relaxed. Be confident in what you've done. Trust your training. Believe in what you're doing. and I think your chances of succeeding will be very high if you do those things. So hope this answers your question, Aaron. If you or anybody else has any other further questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. Check out the resources below all my videos. They're there to help you get to the next level in your training and racing. Or you can just visit RunDreamAchieve.com. We have running courses, training plans, ebooks, one-on-one monthly coaching, or if you want to jump on a consultation call with me, you can do that as well. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you to all my subscribers, both new and old, and I will talk to you all in the next video.